TV I had with this gentleman here, Kevin Mills. Just so fun. His company has the media rights, owns the content to shows such as Gunsmoke and Bonanza, and I binge those shows and have actually watched them on their cable properties, but they stream them, and it's a very interesting media company. And I just got into it with Kevin. Learned a lot about the media space and the ownership rights there, and then was intrigued by the value-based and faith-based culture at the company he works at. Just really a unique story, and I think you'll find it very interesting. So let's go check it out. Hi, everybody. This is Paul Hitchcock. Welcome to Giant TV. I'm the founder and president of Giant Jacks Media. We help others to grow and nurture their business, and just fired up beyond belief to have Kevin Mills here on this episode. Kevin, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah. And we were talking offline, and I mean, you said I'm a talker. I know I'm a talker. We could go on for hours, but I want to get into this because you're doing so many interesting things. You're in the media space. And I want to start by talking about that. Tell us what you're doing in that space, who you're working for, and what the focus is there.
Yeah, so I serve as vice president of organizational development for a family of media companies. To your point, we have our primary network on cable television is INSP Network. We own the Western adjacent space. So think Gunsmoke, Bonanza. Some of those shows that you grew up watching, the wholesome, family-friendly television that a lot of folks grew up watching.
Fabric of my childhood. Like, yeah.
And that's it. And that's what we hear so often is, I watch this with my mom or dad or my grandparents. So that's our cable TV network. And then we also own 28 broadcast affiliates across the country: ABC, CBS, NBC, Fox, CW. We own those broadcast affiliates in Syracuse, New York, Binghamton, New York, Memphis, Tennessee, Tulsa, Oklahoma, Yakima, out in California. We have Medford, Oregon, all around the country.
Yeah,
so we own 28 TV stations in, all around the country.
So when you say you own them, you own the actual TV stations?
That's right. So we own, so for instance, Fox 23 is a Fox affiliate, but we actually own the satellite feed. We own the rights to the satellite, and then we go out and we buy the content and the opportunity to represent Fox or ABC or NBC, whatever affiliate. But as it comes down to the actual satellite, the TV license, really license in the TV space is king when you're showing something on a television. So we own those FCC license, and then we partner with ABC or Fox or whoever the affiliate may be to share and show their content.
But one question I had, quick question, is because I'm just intrigued by Gunsmoke, Bonanza. I mean, those are like hugely popular shows, and you have the rights to them. I can't believe that it's like not massively competitive to get the rights to those shows, is it not?
You would think, and in some spaces, content is king. You said that, or content is king. Well, in 2008, we were a completely different network, really kind of setting back, thinking of the future and what is the content we want to be in. The truth is, in 2008, economy was crashing. We're a small, independently family-owned company. Still to this day, we're independent, family-owned. And we looked at, well, what's the cheapest content we can acquire from a Universal or one of the big production houses? And so in 2008, we went and we acquired Gunsmoke and Bonanza, some of these shows. And when I say cheap, it was cheap, right? It was enough that we could afford it and show it on our air, not recognizing that those shows were actually going to be home run hitters in the cable TV space. we really genuinely didn't know.
Yeah,
We knew that we could buy the content for extremely cheap and take the risk. What we've seen now, years and years later, is that the risk is put us as a top 10 cable TV network
it's
week after
amazing.
week after
Amazing.
week. And of course now, some more shows are more expensive. When you're talking about shows that have 40, 50, 100 episodes, you start paying per episode, and they can get
Okay.
more expensive. But for the most part, in the Western space, because there aren't a lot of shows or a lot of networks showing Western content, we don't have a ton of competition in that
Huh.
space. So when it comes down to bidding on and buying the content or leasing the content, we do see that some of it is more affordable. But we also now recognize that in this space, we're willing to pay for it because there
Yeah.
is a large demographic of people that want to watch this family friendly, what we call lunch free TV. It basically means that if your kids walk in the room, or somebody walks in the room, you don't have to lunch for the remote, because what's on your television is something that you can be proud of, something that you don't have to cringe, oh my goodness, is this going to teach my kid something terrible, or is there language that I have to worry about? You don't have to lunch for that.
Oh man, and that's all over TV. I mean, even just like what is supposed to be modern family friendly stuff is you gotta be kidding me. I'm not letting my kid watch this. Yeah, yeah,
And so for us, we take that very seriously, all the way down to the commercials, if I'm being honest, that
yeah.
are on our show. If somebody wants to pay for an advertising space on our network, we actually vet their commercials, and we say this doesn't fit in alignment with our brand, who
Oh
we
wow.
are, what
Yeah.
our audience wants to see. And so there are times where we'll go back and say, hey, we need you to remake your commercial, or there'll be times where we'll say, hey, you know what, we would love your money, of course, because that pays
Yeah.
our bills, but our brands don't align, and we're not willing to compromise our morals or our ethics or our values to partner with this content, this commercial, or even a product that we may
Interesting.
not feel like represents who we are.
Yeah.
And so everything from, like I said, from our commercials to our content, it's got to be something that we know when we put on our network, we can be proud of it, and that our consumer, our viewers, don't have to worry about,
What's
is
going
this
on in there?
show
Yeah.
going to be something that I have to hide from my kids, or is this content something? I mean, even some of your famous shows, there's some scenes in there. Let's just use Gunsmoke, for instance. There's some scenes where there may be a shooting scene where you see the actor get shot. We actually don't want our viewers to see that actor get shot. So we go in post production, we'll edit that down,
Oh,
where
you
you
will.
the gun go off, you'll see the smoke go, and then it'll kind of move to the point where you see the actor laying on the ground. We've gone as far as understanding that even though we live in this world where everything is available, go to X or Instagram
Yeah.
or whatever,
Yeah.
everything is available, but we want to be different. We are a differentiator in the marketplace. We recognize that. And we want to be something that you can sit down with your kids or grandkids or your husband or
It'll
wife
be good watching it. I got to ask you with Gunsmoke. Did they show blood in Gunsmoke? I don't remember.
there's some, not very much, but
Like a
yeah,
spot on the shirt or
that's what it'll
something.
be. You'll see a spot on a shirt that looks like blood. But yeah.
Catch up. Well, so all right. So what about content beyond that? You have the Westerns. Are you going out and buying other types of content and more, newer stuff? And you said you create your own content.
Yeah, so our company, we own a pretty large studio in Charlotte, North Carolina, where we make our own TV shows, we make our own movies. In our space, we primarily lean into a four key areas. One, we make holiday movies. Think of your typical Christmas movie. We launched last Christmas. We launched a few movies. Christmas in the Smokies is one of ours. We've done um, Country Roads Christmas, based off of the theme of John Denver's Country Roads. We've
You,
got
you
some.
need a leading man. I'm ready. You need a leading man because I'm
We should
out
have done
there.
that 2 years ago. That would have been great. So we
Well,
do
yeah.
holiday. We also do small town crime. So we've got a series that is called County Lines. We've actually got three in that series of movies that did great with a couple really good actors and actresses. So small town crime.
Yep.
We do a couple of other genres of movies, but we also do TV series. So one of our biggest TV series has been Ultimate Cowboy Showdown with Trace Atkins. So it was a reality show where we brought in cowboys from around the world, men and women from really all around that would come in and compete in these series of cowboy exercises of roping and riding and just doing cowboy things.
Yeah.
They competed for a cash prize. That was a good show for us.
That's
We
cool.
are currently in the middle of our first season of a show called Elkhorn, which, to be honest, is probably the favorite content of mine that we've ever done.
Where do you find that? Where would I find that on my
So,
cable?
you're finding that on INSP Network right now. Elkhorn is a story of it's an unbelievable story of Teddy Roosevelt. It's actually his life before he became the president of the United
Oh,
States. Teddy was actually a very sickly guy. He lost his wife and his daughter on Valentine's Day in the same year, and really went into mourning. Moved out west and settled a ranch, and the ranch was called Elkhorn. And so we're walking through the early years of Teddy's life of seeing this meek, really timid guy come to life, who we now know goes down as one an unbelievable president in American
yeah.
history. But we're showing the life of Teddy before then, and it'll be an ongoing series. We just signed season 2 of that. But we make all of that content ourselves.
Wow.
We have an unbelievable group of writers and producers that do this content, and it really is great stuff. And so we do acquire some, to answer your question, Paul.
Yeah.
We do acquire some content from the outside, but we also make a lot of our own content in-house as well.
What was Teddy Roosevelt the one, I think the iconic image of him on a horse in a uniform, and
That's
he was part of, what was that service he was in?
Was
I
he
can't
in?
remember.
He was a. It's a good question. We haven't made
Yeah.
it that far in the series. I want to
Yeah.
say he was in the Army,
Rough
but
Riders, Rough Riders.
you're right. He was in the Rough Riders. You're right. Yep.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Wow. So you're doing the content, and then you yourself, what is your involvement? Like, where do you spend most of your time?
Yeah, so my team, I lead our organizational development team. My team is responsible for the learning and development. We do coaching, we do employee engagement, and then we do strategy and long-term planning for our company. So all of our time is spent investing back in our staff. Everything that my team and I do, everything is to help our people reach their full potential and to give them every resource possible to be the best version of themselves that they can be. We have an internal university that's called Inspire University that's competency-based. We have workshops the third Wednesday of every month that ranges from communication to feedback to, we have a diversity and inclusion workshop. We do our core values workshop. Then we have a series of health and wellness, mental health, physical health,
Wow.
financial health. So we are consistently providing opportunities for our staff to learn and grow and continue to become their best self. We do executive coaching. So I coach our executives in our company, and I've got a couple people on our team that we do whole life coaching that focuses on the all-around individual, not just in the professional space, but personally as well. And then we have a hybrid. We've got a guy on my team, Austin Smith, who's phenomenal, that is this really great hybrid of helping people be their best at home and bringing that to work. As a company, we genuinely believe that when you're healthy and great at home personally, you're going to show up healthy and great at work as well, whether that be financially, emotionally, mentally, spiritually. So we take a lot of pride in providing our staff resources to become their best self. So that's what our team does.
Kevin, where does that come from? You said it's a family-owned business. Where does the value-centric approach come from?
Our CEO is David Cirillo. His wife Barbara Cirillo, who is my direct supervisor. They are genuinely at the heart and soul of everything out to impact lives and to serve people in a way that is that's just different, especially in the media space. It's different. We are 34 years ago. This company was launched as a faith-based company, and it's evolved now. We do a faith component of outreach, but we're all over the country. Really, we're all over the world. We distribute our content to Germany and Europe and you name it. But all of that comes from this idea that we live in a world where people are getting things thrown at you all over the place, whether you're an employee or somebody who's receiving content. And there's very little of that's done with the idea that we want to help you become your best self. Whether it's our shows, again, kind of going back to some of the things we talked about, or the way that our employees are treated when you walk in the door. Our CEO and like I said, my boss Barbara, they genuinely care about the heart of the person. They want you to be happy and fulfilled and full of joy, and they know that when you're all of those things, our company will thrive. But the truth of the matter is that our company being successful is a byproduct of the way that they've loved and cared for our people long before I got here. 3 years ago, the media space is evolving with Netflix and Apple TV and Hulu and all of that. And we recognize that our people could go work anywhere. Truthfully, we have the most talented people in the space, from our attorneys to our accountants to our marketing team to our writers or producers. They could go work anywhere. We're in the Charlotte market, where there's ESPN is based here, or the ESPNU is based here. Fox Sports, NASCAR is based here, and they have a huge. So in our media space, but also Charlotte's, a top 20 market in the country.
Yep.
Our people could go do anything, but what do we do to serve them so they want to stay here? And our organizational development team was created, and we've been given a lot of resources to make sure that our folks have every possible opportunity to be their best self, and that this is somewhere they'd love to go work and serve.
Amazing. How big is the company, Kevin, employee size?
And we have just under 800 employees across the country.
Yeah, you're a big company. That's amazing. And are you from the Charlotte area yourself?
I actually grew up in just south of Charlotte. I moved around several times. I played professional rugby before I got into the corporate world, and so went around playing rugby, and then did undergrad and grad school. Moved around the world a good bit. Landed back in Charlotte 6 years ago, working in the nonprofit space, and like I mentioned, 3 years ago, our company really wanted to invest back in this department that's standalone. We're not a part of the human resources department, although my team and I all have a background in certification in human resources. But we wanted this standalone department to really show our staff that we love them and care for them. So they recruited me from the nonprofit space, and I came over and I'm here. But yeah, so grew up in Charlotte, moved around a lot of my life, came back here, and
kids.
Now I'm back. No, my wife and I, we've been married 13 years, and we just adopted a puppy 2 weeks ago.
You have a kid. It's more probably just as much work.
Paul, here's the funny thing. I'm deathly afraid of dogs. And when I say deathly afraid of dogs, 2 weeks ago, had you brought a dog close to me, I would have crossed the street to get away from it.
What, afraid of being bitten?
I've been bitten a few times. So yeah, afraid of being bitten. But we adopted this little guy, and when we picked him up, he jumped in my arms, and my life changed. And I'm not afraid or ashamed to admit it, man. It has been unbelievable just for me to experience this. So no, my wife and I, we have a little puppy named Captain. So
that's great. That's great. Yeah, and who doesn't love dogs? But also, the rugby thing is funny because you mentioned you played rugby, which is amazing. The Olympics. I watched a clip on YouTube. I don't know if you saw it, but there was a rugby match. It was a women's match, and I think it was the U.S. women, but maybe not. But it was like the match was over. The very end, this woman grabbed the ball and somehow got through and ran like 90 yards and scored and won it. It was an amazing Olympic moment. Rugby.
That was the bronze medal match for a team.
Oh, okay.
They were playing Australia, and to your point, time was up. and the lady from the U.S. grabbed it, broke a tackle, ran the entire length of the pitch, scored, and yeah, I mean, it's incredible. There are two forms of rugby, and I won't go into all of it. That may be another conversation for us. Two forms of rugby. There's one in the Olympics, and then there's 15s rugby, which is an international version as well. And Team USA, especially the women, the men did really well. They actually tied France, who won the gold medal, but the women surprised everybody.
Everybody, yeah.
It's an incredible story. Incredible story.
Yeah. Well, this is awesome, Kim. I mean, you and I could talk forever, especially if we go down a rabbit hole of those shows, Bonanza and some of the other ones. I still watch those things. I love them. But I want to tell everybody here watching, I'm going to put up Kevin's information around this video wherever you're watching it, because we simulcast this on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, X, and get connected. Great guy to know. The company's amazing as I'm learning more about it. And yeah, thanks so much for doing this, Kevin.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And I love this platform, and I love what you do to give back in a way that genuinely is just an investment back into people, their growth, their development. There's just so much to be said about that idea, that mentality of I want something for you, not something from you. And so I love this. I love what you're doing. So kudos to you as well.
Thank you.
Is absolutely great.
Yeah, appreciate the kind words. All right, well, I know we're going to be talking again. Thanks.
Absolutely. Thank you.